here and welcome back to another video. So today we're back here for another speed build, and today we're going to go ahead and create this one called Whiteridge Avenue. So if you'd like to go ahead and download this for yourself, it is up on the gallery now. My origin ID is Real Thomas TV1, and recently, like I've mentioned the last couple of videos, I have been putting download links in the description if you prefer to download things, that way. If it's easier for you, then that's an option. Now I can't promise it though, because seeing that I have been putting them in, I have been forgetting them, quite a few times as well. So if you don't see it straight away, it might be there like the next day or something, or if not, then it might just be easiest to search for origin ID. Anyway, so this home I built like last week, the 5th of November I built this on. Well, is that last week? No, it was this week. What? Oh, Monday. It's currently Friday that I'm doing this voiceover on. And even though it's only been 5 days, I've pretty much forgotten every single thing about this build. I don't know how that happens, but I kind of just have. Now, but I do know that it is a pretty decent sized home though. And I think this is on a 40 by 40 or 40 by 30. It looks more like a 40 by 40, but I'm not exactly 100% sure. It is built on the It's a Good House lot, which I believe this is where the Heckens household is. And well, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. Anyway, you can see, just go to the gallery and it'll tell you, okay? Anyway, so I'm actually really happy how this house turned out, because I was in the mood to do a build, not really a mansion build, because I'm kind of a little bit ahead on mansion builds, and also with Get Famous coming out next week, and we're going to have a bunch of early access kind of builds and stuff going up, so I didn't want to kind of record something that's going to kind of maybe be a little bit irrelevant, because Get Famous be out then, and anyway, I'm talking way too much about that. So I was kind of just in the mood to build, and I did actually find a floor plan, well, an exterior picture. I've said this a million times, but I don't really like to follow floor plans. I feel like it's a lot of pressure to kind of stick to it. Even I feel like people feel like when they look at floor plans, they have to like follow it completely. Just remember that nobody is going to be testing you on like how well you can replicate it, unless it's like a build battle or something. But it's like, just use it as a helpful thing. You don't have to stress yourself out about it. They're there to help. So if that's always a really good tip I always recommend to people when they ask me how to improve building, look at floor plans. I used to, but just don't feel like you have to follow it completely how it is, because then it's kind of taken away from the fun, and it makes it a little bit more stressful, and it's not necessary, unless you really want to, of course. But I don't tend to follow floor plans anymore. I've kind of just built so much that I know what I like to do and what I don't like to do. But saying that, like I've just mentioned, for this one I did follow an exterior. Now what I don't really tend to follow it completely though. I just use it to get like a basic starting point, because sometimes what I have trouble with is just getting it started. Like the first few walls and stuff, I don't know why, but sometimes it's just really hard to get going. But once I've got those few walls down, then everything else just comes really easily to me. So I kind of just wanted something to get me going, and I just had a little look at one of those floor plans. I think it was on Pinterest or something. I can't exactly remember. And here we are with one now. So this home is pretty big, like I said. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Evelyn and her Discord for helping this build come together, because there were a few things I was a little bit unsure about, so such as the exterior wall coverings and stuff. So she has a work in progress builds channel on her Discord, so kind of went in there and asked her and her other people in the community about that, and helped me a lot with that. So thank you everybody who contributed to that. So we're just kind of working on this little garage area, and this, it isn't a mansion size lot, I would say, because I always class mansions as either being like a 50 by 40, a 50 by 50, or 64 by 64. Now I say 50 by 40, I don't normally build mansions on 50 by 40s, and I don't think I've done one yet, but I think tomorrow's mansion build is going to be on a 50 by 40, and it is very different from what I've done before. Now I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be going out tomorrow, because I do have a collab with Kate Emerald coming up too. Now that might have been yesterday for you, it should be going up later today for me as I'm doing this voiceover, but things change. I'm not 100% sure yet, but there is, it may not be tomorrow, it may be sometime else, but there's a very different style of mansion builds coming. It's not like I'm not going to ruin it. It's just like, I sometimes say that modern is like very different for me, and it kind of is, but there's also something else that's very different about it. So I'm just not going to say anything else about it. I'm just going to, just get you hyped about that. But it is, I'm really happy how it turned out. Anyway, moving on, back to this. So as you can see at the minute, we're just doing some landscaping. What I've been doing recently is including a little bit more footage of the landscaping, because I do tend to cut a lot out, just to kind of not have the video drag on for so long, because then I've got to talk for longer, and that just isn't a good thing when it comes to doing my voice voiceovers, because then I just ramble on about rubbish for 20 minutes. So I try to keep things like short and to the point, but with landscaping, I feel like it is one of my most I don't really think, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the thing that I'm best at when it comes to building, but it is the thing that I like enjoy the most. And I think that, you know, since I do enjoy it, I might as well show a little bit more of it. So if that's something that you're okay with, then just let me know. I mean, this video didn't really take, well, this whole build didn't really take that long either. I think it was about like an hour and 10 to 20 minutes or something like that. So not too long, and when it doesn't take that long, it means I can kind of put more footage in than I normally would, because I don't have to worry about cutting it down so much. So I suppose that's one of the reasons why you see a little bit more landscaping today. And you also can see here that we're putting a little kind of pond area in. It's not, you know, we don't have the pond tool in game, but I'm actually pretty sure that one of the gurus said that they're going to be focusing on the pond tool next or something. Well, not focusing on it, like, you know, maybe bringing it up or something. Because I remember, I don't know if it was on Twitter or on one of the live streams or something, but I remember that when they were going over terrain tools, they said that they just wanted to focus on that at the minute, and then later on they'll come back and then take a look at the pond tool. So if they do bring the pond tool, that would be great. But at the minute I'm just using fountains, like, you know, what I've always done. And it is also a really nice thing to add into builds. I add it a lot into the front gardens, but also just generally because it is a really good space filler. Because what normally happens is that I'll just kind of turn that space into more of like just a huge flower bed. So it's just to make it a little bit different, I suppose, and it kind of just looks kind of nice, especially in that little corner there, so that's what we did. And also, I totally forgot to mention, but the kind of theme I was going for in this build was sort of like a monochrome style. Now, that's what I was originally going for, but you can see that we kind of incorporated some green siding from Seasons, like the rustic style one. I didn't do too much of it, just as a little feature wall here and there, but originally I just wanted to be very, like, monochrome, so it's like white paneling and like black roof and trims and stuff. So that's what I originally did. Now, as you can see, I thought maybe it's a little bit too much of like monochrome and I should kind of incorporate another colour so it isn't like so boring or something. So I thought that, you know, adding like the siding in would be a nice like addition. And at the minute we do have that stone in too. Now, I did change it a few times. I did even go for a red brick at one time too. So I can't exactly remember if we did include that stone that you just saw from base game at the front there. Oh, talking of base game as well, another kind of good thing about this build is that it does have some restricted packs. Now, it's not like a 3-pack build or anything, but what I did was is that I just disabled a few packs before I went into it, because sometimes I might end up using like one item from a pack, then you see the build on the gallery, you think, oh, that's going to be perfect for me, and then you see that like this particular pack's used, and then you don't download it because you feel like it's going to be using a load of that pack, when sometimes it might even just be one item. So I feel like, why ruin something that you may really want just because of one item? So for that sort of thing, I did disable a few packs like backyard stuff, my first pet stuff, spa day, a couple of things, just to kind of reduce the packs in unnecessary items, because I do get a lot of those type of comments on the gallery, so I thought I'd kind of help out with that a little bit today. And yes, so right now we're just working on the interior, as you can see, in this little kind of sort of living room. I don't know why on earth I could not think of that word. But you can also see there that I did the two little sort of like corner room cabinets, I guess you could call them, from Cats and Dogs on the sides of the fireplace. Now, I actually saw my friend Christian Marie XO here on YouTube do that in a few builds of hers, and I thought it was a really nice addition. And sometimes I kind of struggle to think of what to put around the fireplace, because like it just sometimes is a difficult space to fill. So that was just a nice little change I thought I'd include, and that's what we did there. And we've also got a pretty big kitchen here too, as you can see, that we're working on now. And this room was actually a pretty decent size, so I just kind of put the dining table in here and that little corner there, which we just did there. And there is also a pretty big laundry room actually kind of going on from this, and then there's kind of like from that as well, it's kind of like 3 rooms that kind of join onto each other. It kind of goes like a back hallway sort of thing, and then it kind of goes to the laundry room and then through this room here. So it's a little bit of a weird floor plan. I kind of had a little bit of trouble with the floor plan, which I kind of always do. Actually, it's one of the most things that I struggle with the most when it comes to builds, and I can never seem to get them right. Sometimes it comes easy, sometimes it doesn't, and this particular day it didn't really come that easy, unfortunately, but I managed to get it to work in the end. And yeah, so something else I was just about to mention, I don't know how I've forgotten already, but we're going to be, well, I can't remember, might as well move on instead of trying to remember it, it's not going to come back. We've also kind of worked on the backyard area too as well. I don't know if we've fully finished it yet, because I've mentioned this a few times, but in the last couple of builds, I have been trying to kind of switch up the order I do all the rooms in, because normally what happens is I kind of do everything in the build, and then I do all the bedrooms last, and I feel like sometimes if you watch like the full video, which I mean, be great great if you do. Sometimes that I feel like it might be a little bit boring if you've kind of got like all of the different rooms that I'm working on, and then for the last good 5 minutes of the video or something, it's just bedrooms after bedrooms after bedrooms. So I've been kind of mixing it up like really randomly. So some of the builds I've done, I've been like working on the exterior, and then I'll just like jump and do the kitchen, then go back and do some landscape, and then do like the gym. Just really random orders and stuff, just to make it a little bit more enjoyable to watch, so it's not the same kind of exact pattern. And I feel like that I've noticed a few people have told me about that they really like that idea, so that's probably something I'm going to do a little bit more. I know it's only a little minor thing, but I feel like the end kind of result of that is really good to make the whole viewing experience more enjoyable. So this is a little study area here. As you can see, it is pretty small, but you know, it doesn't need to be huge. I make all my rooms and my builds pretty big, especially the mansions, and I've said this before as well, but when it comes to doing smaller builds, the rooms turn out to be really big from there too, because I'm so used to doing bigger floor plans and stuff in the mansions, so everything ends up being unnecessarily big sometimes. So I suppose that room wasn't too much of a very small size compared to like a normal size, and that was the little room that we're just working on when I was talking about the kids room. Now I don't think I put kids toys in it, but you can kind of see how it looks like it would be for a kid, for the single bed, and kind of just the colour scheme and stuff. This room right here is this kind of little guest house sort of thing. I've done this a few times where I've kind of put like a little additional house but kind of connected to the house, because sometimes I do like a guest house in the back corner of the lot, and then sometimes I've done this as well where it's either like I do that little outdoor hallway connecting to this separate little room, sometimes it's the garage, but in this case it was actually another room, and I kind of just put some general skill building activities and just general activities in there. And I'm working on one of the bedrooms. Again, they are pretty neutral. Like I said before, I'm not going to go into it again, but that's what I did there. And yeah, so also, next week I do have a bunch of Get Famous footage coming out, because I will be receiving early access next week. So on the 14th, from 8 AM Pacific time, I will start uploading my videos. I have been having a few recording problems today though, because I have been doing a little bit of prep, because I want to get loads of mansion builds out, and that's going to be, even for me, a little bit of a struggle, but you know, I'm going to try and do the best I can. So I have been trying to record a little bit, but I've been having a lot of lag issues with my recording softwares. I do have two, because when one fails, I have a backup one. It sounds really stupid before me having a terrible computer, because sometimes it's really unpredictable. Just having that secondary recording software can be really helpful sometimes when we're in the middle of the build, and then my recording software ends up, you know, going all funny. Then I can kind of continue the build without having to stop. So I was having a bit of trouble with both of those recorders today, so I'm really worried for next week, but hopefully I can still get everything done that I want to. I really hope you enjoyed today's build. I'm going to leave you here with the screenshots. Make sure you leave a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't, and go ahead and download this from the gallery. My origin ID is RealThomasTV1. Let me know if you have any build ideas or video ideas or anything I could do with Get Famous as well. That'd be really, really helpful to hear, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!